Alright, so this is how your system is gonna function like. You can type slash filter, and then you can go to the settings, and here you can select the channel where you want your infractions to log. So let's select the channel, for example, and you should see add to the logging channel. And now, for example, if I add a word to the filter, add, for example, let's say ASD, alright, and now if I type ASD in the chat, the message should be deleted. It's not deleting now because Discord is being slow, so I'm gonna refresh Discord and it should be gone, like you see. So now if we go to the test log, we can see the log of it. Now if I tap ASD again, it also should be deleted. Now even if I restart the bots, alright, and then node space dot start it again, the exact same word, it should be deleted when I type it, and it should also log it. Now if I want to remove that word, configure remove ASD, and if I type it again, it should not be deleted because it's removed from the database. So it's a pretty cool system, and it's also multi-guide. So if you have a global bot, you can implement this system and it should work all right. Yeah, all right, step one of this episode is actually creating the database schema. So let's go to our structures, schemas, and here we'll create a new file and we'll call it, for example, filterdp.js. You can call it whatever you want. And here we're gonna require two properties from the mongoose package. So let's grab mongoose, and all we need from it is the model and the schema. Alright, so the schema is basically a blueprint for our database. Now we're gonna model export, and we're gonna export the model so we can use it outside of this file scope. Alright, here we're gonna name our database collection, for example, filter, whatever you can call it, chat filter, whatever you want. And then we're gonna create a new schema. And here we can basically lay out our blueprint. What we're going to be storing is three stuff. So the first thing that we're going to be storing is the guide ID. So let's type guide, and it's going to be equal to a string because it's just a bunch of numbers and we're going to store it as a string. The second thing that we're going to be logging is, or saving, is log. This is for the channel ID of the logging channel, and it's also going to be string. And the last thing is gonna be words, and it's gonna be an array of strings, just like this. And that's it for the schema. So after the schema is done, let's go to your commands folder. Let's go, for example, to systems, and here we're gonna create the chat filter command, which is gonna have two subcommands: one to set up your logging channel, and the other to configure your system by adding or removing words. So we can require two properties from Discord like we did with the database. So let's require Discord right now, just like this. And what we need to require is the command interaction and the client, because we will be using the client properties. And then we're gonna require the schema that we just created. So require, and here we can basically trace wherever we created that file and run it. So schemas and then filterdp, pretty simple. Now we're gonna model export, and we're gonna name our command, for example, let's see here, filter, and the description of it's gonna be a simple chat filtering system. All right, let's set the permission of the command to be manage underscore messages, so only those with that permission will be able to configure your system, so you don't have anybody like random members configuring your system. Alright, now we're gonna create our options inside of an array. So the first option is gonna be a subcommand, and we're gonna call it settings, and the description of it is gonna be, for example, set up your filtering system or whatever you want. And the type of it is gonna be sub underscore command, and then the sub command needs to have options. So let's create our option, and our only option for now is to select the logging channel. Maybe if you guys want more features, we can leave them down in the comments below, and we'll add them to part 2 if you ever make part 2. Alright, so in here we're gonna name this option for example logging, and the description of it is gonna be select the logging channel. Very simple. Now the type of it is gonna be channel, and the channel types we're gonna be needing guide underscore text, and it's gonna be required set to true, so we force the user to actually select a channel. All right, so now let's go over to our second subcommand, which is gonna be named configure, just like this. The description of it is gonna be add or remove words to or from the blacklist. You can describe it as however you want, and the type of it is gonna be also sub command, and it's obviously gonna have options. So in this case we're gonna have two options. The first one is gonna be the option or the available options, which is add and remove, and we're gonna be using the choice type. So name, let's type options, description, select an option, and then the type of it is gonna be string. It's gonna be required, and here we're gonna create our choices inside of an array. So the first choice is gonna be add, the value of it's gonna be add. The second one is gonna be remove, and the value of it's gonna be obviously remove. So far so good. And now for the last option inside of this subcommand options array, we're gonna create the word option. Description is gonna be provide the word, for example, and then the type of it is gonna be string, and it's also gonna be required. So far so good. I'm gonna go up and scroll down slowly for those who didn't catch up yet. All right. Now we're gonna go down to the end of this array, and here we're gonna async, and we're gonna execute interaction, and also the client, because like I said previously we're gonna be needing to access two collections. All right, so now we're gonna open this code block, and the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the guide object and the options property from the interaction, and let's also grab our parameters so we can get auto completed properties, so just like this. And this is not required, you can remove these if you want, but I rather to keep it. Alright, so now we're gonna need to define the subcommand. Now here, because we have two subcommands which are configure and settings, we want to know which subcommand the command user shows. So in that case we're gonna type const subcommand equals to options get subcommand, and what this is gonna return, it's either gonna return configure or settings. And for that we're gonna make a switch statement. So switch, here we're gonna switch between subcommands, and we're gonna do that inside of this code block. So in case the subcommands returned settings, then we're gonna execute whatever is between this column and the break statement. But if it was configure, that's how we type it, we're gonna execute whatever is between this column and the break statement. Make sure your subcommand names are exactly as they are here, so you don't get any errors. Alright, so if it in case settings, then we need to grab the channel ID that was selected in the first option of the settings subcommand, and to do that is very simple. So const logging channel, just like this, equals to options dot get channel. We're gonna get it from the logging. Let's make sure we actually name the option logging, yes, and we're gonna get the ID, so dot ID of the channel. That's what we need to store. All right, then we're gonna await schema dot find one and update. All right, so the bot is gonna go inside our database, and it's gonna find a document inside of the collection that has the same guide ID as this guide ID, and the same and that's it basically. And then we're gonna update log, which let's go to our schemas actually to confirm filter dp. yeah, we're gonna update the log value to be the actual channel ID. So log equals to logging channel, and we're also gonna create a new object, and we're gonna basically say new true and upsert true. So in case the bot didn't find a document, it's gonna create one. All right, so far so good. All right, so when we are at this stage, whenever I'm gonna explain this later in details, but we want to store the channel IDs and the words inside of a collection instead of going to the database each time a message gets sent. It's faster and more reliable, so we'll do that. So let's go to our main folder, and here under the commands, if you have this, we're gonna create a two new collections. So client.filters equals to new collection, and be very careful here. You need to place the semicolons because we have open arrays inside of it. I'm gonna show you an example. If we don't have a column here, or a semicolon, and if I press save, like you see how the code turned into here, because the JavaScript thinks this is all one line, so that's why we need to put the semicolons, and this won't happen. Pretty simple. And now for the second collection that we're going to be creating is going to be filters log, so new collection and the semicolon. Pretty simple. That's the only two collections that we need to create. All right, let's close out of the main, go back to the chat filter, and then here with what we're going to do is type client dot filters log dot set, and here we're gonna set guide ID. So we're gonna create or add values to the filters log guide ID, and then we're gonna provide the logging channel ID. It's pretty simple. And then we need to reply to the interaction, so we're gonna say interaction dot reply. We're gonna make it content. We're gonna say added, and let's make it like this, so we can actually, the channel can be taggable, logging channel as the logging channel for the filtering system. Pretty simple. And we can actually make this ephemeral too, so only the command user will be able to see it. Alright, so here you don't have to put return because the statement is already breaking under it. So far so good. Now we're done with our settings, so let's go over to configure. So in the configure subcommand, you get to choose to add or remove, and for that we also have to create a new switch statement, and we're gonna do the same logic as we did here. So we're gonna grab the actual choice what the command user selected, so const choice equals to options dot get string. Why we're getting a string? Because whatever we're gonna get from the choices is the actual value of the choice, which is a string. So we either get add or remove. Alright, so and the name of it was options, so let's copy that, paste it here. And now we're gonna create yet another switch statement. So we're gonna type switch choice like this, and then case add, then we're gonna execute wherever in between the column and the break statement, and case remove, we're gonna do the same process. Pretty simple so far. Alright, so under the add, so we start with the add, and actually before we start, let's grab also the word, and the way that we're gonna do this, we're gonna allow the command user to add multiple words at the same time. So you don't have to type, basically do a command for every word you want to add to the blacklist. So that's pretty good. So we'll grab the word as a string. All right, and here actually we can describe it in here. We can type add multiple words by placing a comma in between, and here we're gonna provide an example, word another word. Pretty simple. All right, now we're gonna go here, and here we're gonna type const words, because it's gonna return an array whenever we split. So const words equals to options dot get string, just like this. and we're gonna grab it from the word option, and then we're gonna to lowercase, so we're gonna lowercase it, and then to split, we're gonna split at the commas. So what will this return is gonna return an array of words, basically a list of words. So that's pretty good. Now let's go over here to the case add, and what we're gonna be doing here is we're gonna go inside of the database, so schema dot find one, just like this, and we're gonna find one with the same guild as this guild ID, and then we're gonna async error and data, and then we're gonna create an arrow function, and here we're gonna type if error. So if we encounter an error while going into the database, we're gonna throw it, and we're gonna check if there isn't data, then we're gonna execute whatever inside of this code block. And what we're gonna do, so if we didn't find data and the case was add, then we're gonna create a new document and we're gonna push the array. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna type await schema dot create, we're gonna create guild, it's gonna be the same as the guild ID, log is gonna be null, and the words are gonna be words. And here you don't have to put this as an array like we usually do. All you need to do is put the words because it's already an array after we splitted it. So far so good. And now we need to create a new collection. So we're gonna type client dot filters dot set. Here we're gonna set the guide ID, and then we're gonna provide the array of words. All right, and then we're gonna return interaction dot reply. Content is gonna say, for example, added let's say words dot length, which is gonna return the amount of words that was in the list or the schema, the array. And here we can type new word s inside of the brackets to the blacklist. Pretty simple. And we won't make this ephemeral because the words are not gonna be even displayed. Alright, so we're done with this. So now if there is data in the database, then the bot will ignore wherever we set here in between these brackets, and it's gonna continue on. And here we're gonna create a new variable, and we're gonna assign it to be an array. So const new words equals an array. So why we are making it called new word? It's because sometimes people forget that they added words and they try to add words to the array, but they already exist. So we're only gonna log the new words that are not included already in the database. So in here we're gonna type words dot for each. So for each word inside of this array of words, we're gonna execute this code, and we're gonna provide the value to be a W, basically stands for word. So for each word, we're gonna check if data dot words dot includes W, which is the actual word, we're gonna return. So we're not gonna do anything, we're not gonna push anything, we're not gonna say anything because the word already exists. All right, but if it isn't, then the code is gonna continue, and here we're gonna say new words dot push, we're gonna push the word. So we're pushing the actual word to the new words array, the list, and then we're gonna data dot words dot push, we're gonna push the word to the database array, and then here we're gonna type client dot filters dot get guild ID, and here we're gonna push the word to that array too. So we're pushing the word to 3 different arrays. So far so good. Now we're gonna go down a couple more lines outside of here, and here we can say interaction dot reply content, and we'll say added new words dot length, new word inside of this rounded brackets to the black list. All right, and then we're gonna go under here and we're gonna type data dot save, so we can save the actual document after we have updated it. So far so good, we're done with our add command. Alright, now let's go over to our remove commands, and in here we're gonna do the same process. We're gonna go enter the schema, so find one. We're gonna find one with the same guide ID as this, same process, async error and data. If error, then we're gonna throw error. Let's go scroll down a little bit, and now here, if there is no data and the user is trying to remove a word, we're gonna basically return interaction dot reply. There is no data to remove. You can customize this message as much as you would like. Alright, but if there is data, then the bot is gonna continue on, and here we're gonna do the same concept, but instead of new words, we're gonna create removed words. So const removed words equals to an array, which basically means a list. And now here we're gonna access words, the array, and here we're gonna type for each word. We're gonna execute this code block, and here we're gonna check if exclamation mark data dot words dot includes w, which is the word, then we're gonna return. So we're basically checking the array. We're checking if the word doesn't even exist to begin with, then we cannot remove it. So we're just returning, we're exiting. All right, and then we're gonna type data, but if it already exists, then the code is gonna continue. So data dot words remove, and here we're gonna remove the actual word, and then we're gonna remove words dot push the actual word, right? And because the Lyxcode collection is actually a map, it's not really a database, it's just a temporary map that's storing itself in the memory of the bot, or wherever the bot is running. We need to filter, we're gonna need to create a new array and make it a new collection, basically, because we can't remove individual words from the array inside of a collection. So we're gonna type const new array, all right, and it's gonna be equals to client filters dot get. We're gonna get the actual collection that is tied with this guild. I know you guys hate me saying guild instead of guild. I'm used to it, so you need to get used to it too. So let's continue on. Here we're gonna type filter, and we're gonna filter word to the words that are not included inside of the removed words array. So what is basically gonna return, so it's gonna go inside of the filters collection, but it's gonna get the collection related to this guide ID, and it's gonna create a new array of words that are not included in the removed words. So we basically remove the words, all right, and then we're gonna client dot filter dot set guide dot id, and we're gonna set the new array. Pretty simple. And here we're gonna interaction dot reply. The content is gonna be, for example, removed words dot length, just like this, words from the blacklist. All right, and this should be it for our command. And now, of course, we can have errors, but if we do, while we're testing it, we're gonna go back here and fix it. But the system is not really done because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So what we're gonna move on to now is we're gonna create a system. So let's go to our systems. Let's create a new file, and we'll call it a chat filter system, for example, .js. What we're gonna do here is actually require the same schema. So schema equals to require wherever you store your schema. Structures for me, schemas, and filter dp, and then we're gonna model export, and we're gonna provide the client as a property, and then we're gonna execute whatever inside of this code block. All right, so this file, later on we're gonna add it to our ready event. This file is gonna run when every time the server or the bot restarts or starts up, and so on and so forth. And what's gonna do is it's gonna go inside of the database, get all of the arrays, all the IDs, and create collections based on them. So let's type schema, capital S schema dot find, And because here we're not providing a filter, this is gonna return every single document inside of our collection. So here we're gonna type .then documents, because it's gonna return every single document. It's gonna return an array of documents. So then documents, here we're gonna type documents for each. So for each one of these documents, we're gonna define everyone as document. And to not confuse to confuse you guys, I'm gonna just type it as doc. Right? And for each doc, we're gonna execute this code, and here we're gonna type client dot filters dot set doc dot guide. All right, and then doc words just like this, and then client dot filters log dot set doc dot guide doc dot words. Pretty simple. So like I said, this is gonna go inside of every document, and for each guide in that document, it's gonna basically create a new collection for it. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Let's actually make sure that our collection names in our main are exactly the same. So filters log should be filters log, and filters should be also filters. So far so good. So that's all we need to do with for the system. But to make this system be able to run and function properly, we need the client to be already ready, and we need the bot to already be connected to the database. So to do that, let's go to our events, to the client event, which most of you guys should already have ready. And in here, let's actually move this from the lockdown system that we created previously. Let's move it to be under the database connection, just like here. And we're gonna require our newly created system, which is, sorry for my phone, which is gonna be // systems chat filter system, and here we're gonna pass in the client so we can use it inside of that file. So whenever the bot gets ready, we're gonna run this file. It's pretty simple. So now, actually, because we have our system set up, we need to actually detect, sorry for my phone, actually detect the bad words or the blacklisted words being used in the message. And to do that, we need to listen on the message create event. So let's go to our events. Let's close out of this and this and all of these actually, so we can have a clean space in front of us. Let's go to our message, and here we're gonna create a new file, and we're gonna call it, for example, filter detection.js. All right, and then here we're gonna require a couple of properties from the Lyxcode package. It's only 2 properties actually. So we're gonna require message to use it for our parameters, and we're gonna require message embed to create our logging embed. So now we're gonna module export, and we're gonna listen on the message create event, and you need to enable this from your Discord developer portal. So if you haven't enabled that privileged intent, go ahead and do that. Right, and then we're gonna async execute message, and we're also gonna be needing the client. And now we're gonna grab our parameters for the message. So let's do that real quick. Message, and we don't really need the, I mean, we can add it just if you guys want to. All right, just like this, and that should be all right. All right, so we're gonna go inside of this code block now, and in here we're gonna check. So if message.author.bot, all right, then we're gonna return right. So here we're gonna grab a couple of objects from the channel. So we're gonna type const, we're gonna equal it to the message, and then here we're gonna require the content, the guide, the author, and the channel which this message was sent to. These are the properties that we need from the message. All right, so now we need, because the message can have a lot of words, to disallow the to not let the actual members bypass the filter by actually creating a long message and putting that word in that message. We're gonna check every single word in that message, and to do that we need to create an array of words from the message content. So what we're gonna do is type const message content equals to content, which is the actual message content that we grabbed in here, two lowercase, we're gonna lowercase it, and then we're gonna split with whenever there is a space. And this is also gonna create an array of words within the content. Alright, so here we're gonna define our filter. So we're gonna type const filter equals to client dot filters dot get guide dot id. Alright, and we're gonna check. So if there isn't a filter, then we're gonna return. So basically the server owner didn't set up the system. And then we're gonna create a new array, and we're gonna type const words, or we can make it camel case, so words used, and it's also gonna be an array. So here we're gonna push the words, the blacklisted words that were used in the message content, and then here we're gonna define a variable that we will need to change based on a condition. So we're gonna be using let instead of const, because const is constant, it cannot be changed, but let can. So here we're gonna define should delete as defaulted to false. Alright, and now we're gonna loop through the message content. So message content, for each word inside of that array we're gonna execute this code, and here we're gonna check if filter dot includes, which is the filter is gonna return the array of blacklisted words. If it includes the w, which is the word, then we're gonna words used dot push the actual word. We can name this actually to word. It's easier on the eye, so let's do that. Right, words like this, and then we're gonna change the value of should delete to be true, so we can delete the message, right, outside of the loop, so we don't get errors. And here we're gonna check if should delete. So if this returns true, then we're gonna basically message dot delete. All right, and then we let's see here, we're gonna catch actually catch, and whenever an error happens we're gonna void the error, and yeah, the code is gonna continue obviously. And let's actually say else return, right? So and we'll test if this will actually work as we want it to be. So in here we're gonna type if words, or actually we can remove this, we don't need this. All right, we're gonna type if words used dot length. So this is gonna return if it doesn't have a length. If the list of the words used is empty, then this code that's inside of this code block will not run, so you don't have to worry anything about that, right? But if there is, then a bad word was used and the message was deleted, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually log it. And now to get the actual logging channel, we're gonna define, so const channel id, we're gonna get it from the client.filters log dot get guide id. Alright, we're gonna get it from the guide id, and then here if we didn't find one, so if exclamation mark channel id, then we're gonna return, and then we're gonna actually fetch the guide. So const channel object, we're gonna actually fetch the channel, sorry, equals to, and here I spelled client wrong, so let me fix that. Alright, equals to client dot filters dot get, or actually should be message, or actually no, not message, guide dot channels dot cache dot get, and we're gonna get channel id. And if there isn't a channel object inside of that array of channels, then we can also return. All right, so now we're gonna create our embed. We're gonna type const embed equals to new message embed. We're gonna set the color of it to be red. We're gonna set the author inside of an object. The name is gonna be author.tag, for example. Icon URL is gonna be author.display avatar URL, and we're gonna make it dynamic. And then we're gonna set the description. So set description, and the description actually gonna be an array which we will be joining with a new line every time. Alright, so in here inside of this array we're gonna create our first string, and here we're gonna type used words used dot length blacklisted words in, and here we can provide the channel. We should grab it from here. Yeah, it's out. Grab channel. All right, and then we're gonna create an arrow and create a new line. Actually, we don't have to create a new line. Let's create an arrow, comma, and create a new line. And here we're gonna map the words. So to do that, we're gonna type. Let's actually style it a little bit. So let's do this. And here we're gonna type words used, just like this. Dot map word to word. Pretty simple. And we're gonna go down here and type channel object dot send embed. All right, and this should be it for the system. So let's go ahead and try it out. So let's type node space dot. Let's see if we get any errors. Thank God we didn't. Let's go to the Lyxcode. All right, so let's go to the database actually first. TKF, we should have chat filters in here. This is the database. So now let's say I want to blacklist, for example, ASD. Okay, right now it doesn't delete it, doesn't give any errors, doesn't do anything. So now if we type slash, let's see here, slash filter configure add ASD, added one new word to the blacklist. Now if we go to the database here, it should have created one. It's this database should have created one, and like we see here, the word is ASD. All right, so now if I type ASD, it should be deleted, but there is no logging is gonna happen. You see no errors, but because we haven't specified a logging channel. So now if you type slash configure, actually filter settings logging, and let's for example say test logging, added test logging as a logging channel for the filtering system. And if I type ASD now, it should delete it and log it in here and say that basically used one blacklisted words. Now if I blacklist another word, so filter configure add, let's say blacklist QWE for example. Let's see here, we got an error I think, and let's see word for each word. Yeah, because word is not defined, it should be a W, actually shouldn't be word, should be W. So let's fix that real quick. So client filters dot get W. All right, let's restart the boat. All right, let's see if it should have added. No, it didn't. All right, so now let's try it out, retry, and like you see, added one new word to the blacklist. And now if you see here, we added QWE, and now if I type ASD QWE, both of them is gonna get deleted and it's gonna be logged. It didn't log. Let's see why. Logging channel. Let's see why it didn't log. So let's go to our filter based system. Yeah, so here we did an error. Instead of pushing doc.words, we pushed the log, push the words. So let's fix that real quick. Log. Now let's restart the bot. All right, now it should be completely fixed, completely running fine. Now if I type ASD, it should be saving like you see. And now if I type ASD and QWE, it will say that I use these two words in the blacklist. And this system is multi-guide. And like you see, doesn't matter how much time I restart the bot, the words are still gonna be deleted if I type them, and they're still gonna be logged. And even if I delete this channel, this just appeared because Discord is slow. Now let me refresh my Discord, and it should be gone whenever it's refreshed. Come on, Discord. I can see it's gone. All right. So now if I delete the channel, all right, and if I type ASD again, it's gonna delete it, but it's not gonna error in the console because we made sure if we didn't find the channel, we returned. So it's pretty simple stuff. Now if I want to remove a word from the blacklist, so filter configure remove ASD. Right, if I type ASD now, it will not delete it, but if I type QWE, it should delete it. Let's see why it didn't. Because we probably didn't data save. Yeah, so let's go to chat filter again, and in here we didn't data save like you see here. So type data save in here, and you should be all right. Now let's restart the bot again. All right, so now if you type ASD, it should delete it. QEE, it should delete it. Now if I type filter, configure remove ASD, right? Now if I type ASD, it won't delete it, but if I type QWE, it should delete it. I don't know why it's not deleting it. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's type await in here. The database, is it saving? Yes, it is saving. Client filter, make sure this is right. Maybe we actually need to delete it. So let's type ASD, should delete, QWE should delete. Okay, let's add a new word, filter, remove, hello, sorry. What did I type? Hello. Okay. I type hello, should delete, ASD should not delete, QWE should delete. If I type filter, configure remove hello p, if I type it now, it shouldn't delete it, but if I type QWE, it should delete, but it's not deleting. So let's figure out why that is happening, and let's see. And here we can see that we put an array inside of an array, so that shouldn't be good. So let's remove that again, and let's go back and test, and everything should be all right. So let's clear the channel again. All right, let's clear 99 messages. Now if you go to the database here, we can check what words we have. We have QWE. Let's add another word. So filter configure add ASD. And right now we have two words. If I type ASD, it should be deleted. If I type QWE, it should be deleted. Now if I remove ASD, so remove ASD. If I type ASD, it should not be deleted, but QWE should be deleted. And like you see here, like you have it, the system is completely functioning. And don't get discouraged if you get any errors. It happens to me, like you have seen, but it's always easy to fix them. You know, it's just simple mistakes that we put an array inside of an array. It's like you know, it's small stuff that will break your code, but it's easy to fix. All right, so this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you need any help with this episode, just go ahead to our support Discord, link in the description, and press on this button, and a ticket will open up and we can help you out. So thank you guys for the video. I appreciate you all for watching. I'm gonna scroll down real fast for every file we created. Alright, so you can pause at wherever you are stuck out. Let's go to our chat filter system. Here it is, filter direction. Here it is, and our main. Also, this is the two new lines, and inside of our ready event, this is the new line. So yeah, that is it. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. So go ahead and check the first episodes in this tutorial series, and you should be alright. Alright, so let's go straight to coding. So what you need for this video is a command handler, an event handler, and a database connection. Luckily, we have created tutorials on all of these things.